From the most trusted journalists at Comedy Central, it's America's only source for news. This is The Daily Show with your host, Michael Costa.
RFK Jr. tries to act normal for a day. Americans figure out how to live without social media, and we'll tell you the worst way to kill a mouse. But first, let's get to the latest news on the Trump administration in another edition of The Second Coming of Donald J. Trump. Today is a big day for Donald Trump's cabinet and the government one, not the one filled with golf trophies he gave himself. That's because today was the world's weirdest episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, also known as Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s confirmation hearing to lead the Department of Health. And look, we all remember the stories about this guy from the campaign, the dead bear cub he dumped in Central Park, the time he sawed off the head of a dead whale and tied it to the roof of his car, the worm that died after eating part of his brain. Basically, if there's an animal corpse anywhere in America, RFK Jr. is probably involved. But what most people are most concerned about when it comes to RFK Jr. is his long history of speaking out against vaccines. And I'm not talking your run-of-the-mill concerns like, should I still get a flu shot if I don't care about getting other people sick? Or do I need an HPV vaccine if I only do hand stuff? I'm talking about RFK Jr. saying things like autism is caused by vaccines, or that it's just not true that vaccines are why smallpox, measles, and polio were eradicated, or that there are no vaccines that are safe and effective. Basically, putting this guy in charge of America's vaccines is like making Elon Musk a Walmart greeter. Honestly, I'm going to tell RFK Jr. the same thing I tell myself every morning before I host The Daily Show. You are not qualified for this job. Don't clap for that. Don't clap for that. Shit. You're clapping because I am. And that's why medical experts around the country are sounding the alarm.
Ahead of the hearings, more than 15,000 doctors have signed a letter urging senators to vote against confirming him.
Whoa, 15,000 doctors signed this letter. Of course, we don't know who they are because they all just signed it like this. But that's a big number. And even his own family is coming out against him, not only because of his medical views, he's also just not right in the old worm chamber.
Caroline Kennedy, RFK Jr.'s first cousin and the daughter of President John F. Kennedy, warning the senators tasked with confirming her cousin to be the nation's health secretary that they should vote no.
I've known Bobby my whole life. We grew up together. It's no surprise that he keeps birds of prey as pets, because Bobby himself is a predator. His basement, his garage, his dorm room were always the center of the action.
Center of the action. Cool dorm room. What's wrong with that? All right? And while you answer, I'll just take a sip of this delicious-looking smoothie that RFK Jr. sent me.
His basement, his garage, his dorm room were always the center of the action, where drugs were available, and he enjoyed showing off how he put baby chickens and mice in a blender to feed to his hawks.
He was putting baby chickens and mice in a blender? And ladies, you thought it was bad when a guy brought you back to his dorm room and busted out a guitar. Now, I'm not sure her statement will have much sway because, first of all, blending food, that's just how you feed a hawk. If you've ever looked at their nests, you see they have a little NutriBullet right in there. And also, we all have a crazy crazy cousin. It's the cousin rule of 3, right? There's a crazy one, a quiet one, and one that we secretly think is hot. What's up, Stephanie? But for real, are there no stories where Kennedy interacts with an animal like a normal person? Just once I want someone to be like, yeah, one time RFK went up to a dog and rubbed his belly. Instead, every story's like, and that's when RFK kicked a miniature horse in his vagina. But with all this baggage, his vagina, but with all this baggage, RFK Jr. had one important thing he had to do when he sat down for his hearing today. Just try and sound slightly normal for like 2 hours. Take it away, Bobby. What do you really believe about vaccines?
I believe that vaccines play a critical role in healthcare. All of my kids are vaccinated.
Man, that velvet voice is good enough for me. What are you gonna believe? His well-documented, decades-long record, or the thing he said today when he was trying to get a job? Besides, all his kids are vaccinated. He definitely doesn't regret that, right? Right?
What I do if I could go back in time and I could avoid giving my children the vaccines that I gave them, I would do anything for them. I would pay anything to be able to do that.
That is the worst answer to what you would do with a time machine that I have ever heard. You can't think of anyone else in your family that you would go back in time and try to prevent a shot from happening? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., no one else? Which reminds me, you know what I've done? If I would have had a time machine, I would have gone back and made sure Stephanie and I weren't cousins. What's up, Stephanie? All right, let's get back on track because Kennedy was trying to present himself as a new man, but a lot of senators seem determined to make sure he didn't run too far from his past.
Did you say Lyme disease is a highly likely militarily engineered bioweapon?
I probably did say that.
Did you say that COVID-19 was a genetically engineered bioweapon that targets black and white people but spared Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people?
I didn't say it was deliberately targeted.
Did you write in your book, and it's undeniable, that African AIDS is an entirely different disease from Western AIDS? Yes or no, Mr. Kennedy?
I'm not sure if I made that.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. This guy has said so many things that he can't remember if he said black AIDS is different from white AIDS. White AIDS is so bland. And they put raisins in it. Don't bring that white AIDS to my cookout. This is... You guys aren't sure how to react to the voice? This is the story of the hearing. Senators would question him on past statements and he would deny them. Now, one senator, though, actually brought receipts. Adorable receipts.
Your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. One of them is titled Unvaxxed, Unafraid. Next one is No Vax, No Problem. Are you supportive of this clothing, which is minimally anti-vaccine?
I am supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of these onesies?
Wow. I never realized how much I would enjoy Bernie Sanders talking about baby clothes. And these little corduroy dungarees, why do they have pockets? A baby doesn't need to carry around a wallet or car keys. Do you support that? Look, I'm not a doctor and I have no basis for my medical opinions, much like RFK Jr. So if we're going to criticize him, then in the interest of fairness, we here at The Daily Show want to hear from one of his supporters. So for a different perspective, please welcome the polio virus.
Hello, Michael. Thank you so much for having me on. Let's hug.
No, that's okay. That's okay, polio. I don't want to get you, but how are you feeling after watching the hearings today?
I feel reborn, Michael. energized. I am excited to get back to work across America. We should celebrate. Let's breathe on each other.
Oh, no. I don't want to get polio. I know the damage you've done to millions of Americans.
Millions of amazing Americans. Okay? Take FDR, for example. I gave that man something to overcome. You know? I gave him a signature look. The wheelchair blanket combo, that was all me. Okay. Oh, how about Francis Ford Coppola?
He had polio?
Yes, and if he hadn't, who knows if he would have gone on and make that movie Megalopolis?
That's your Francis Ford Coppola movie?
I know. Yeah, most people say Godfather Part 3, but...
No, they don't. This is the same thing with RFK. I remember what you've done, and you're not going to be able to trick me into being so friendly right now.
Friendly? That's so sweet. Let's kiss.
No, thank you.
Okay, fine. Just let me spit in your mouth a little.
No.
Look, I promise it's not gonna be like polio was before. You know, with all the canceled pool parties and the iron lungs. They're so clunky. I am working with a whole new team for my comeback this time.
Your team?
Yes, RFK Jr., the trad wife community, Justin Baldoni's crisis PR firm.
Okay, I think life would be better if you didn't come back at all.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Can we just talk about it over drinks? Maybe we share a toothbrush.
Stop trying to infect me, polio.
This is my purpose, Michael. And you need to get on board because RFK is going to be confirmed and I'm going to be everywhere. Schools, hospitals, plane, bus, club, another club.
I get it.
The point is, thanks to RFK Jr., I'm coming back. So you better kiss your little legs goodbye because once I get in those neurons, I'm going to... Sorry, excuse me. I'm going to be ruining all of...
Polio, are you all right?
Yeah, so I keep coughing and I'm getting red splotches all over my body.
It sounds like you have measles. Did you get your measles vaccine?
No, RFK Jr. said I didn't need one. Did he not know what he was talking about? Oh no, I'm disappearing. I need true love's kiss. Michael, hurry, lick my tongue.
You know what? I'm just gonna let him die. Polio, everyone. He's dead. When we come back, we'll find out what you really think of social media, so don't go away. Campaign, Elon Musk jumped like a dork into the race for Donald Trump, and that caused a backlash for his website.
Social media platform Blue Sky, a competitor to X, has gained millions of followers in the weeks following the presidential election, a trend due in part to dissatisfied liberals leaving the Elon Musk-owned X platform.
Yeah, that'll show Elon Musk, you know. I'm gonna waste my life pushing a different set of buttons on my phone. Ha ha ha. Tell my kids I never saw them. Of course, Elon isn't the only social media boss who's drifted towards Trump. Grace Kulenschmidt asked New Yorkers what they think about their favorite platforms right now.
The world is up in arms about social media companies being run by Trump-aligned billionaires. But are they mad enough to get off the apps? Let's put this on TikTok and find out.
That actually made me so mad.
You seem pissed.
Yeah.
It just feels very propaganda, incredibly angry to see it so blatantly broadcasted that like the wealth of, combined wealth of like $1 trillion sits right in front of the cabinet, right next to the president. Do you think the anger is justified? 100%.
Yes.
Completely. 100%. I think it's you guys are so pissed. You're like about to punch me. Calm down.
Trump sucks. It's kind of, I don't know. I just feel like
He's gonna be pissed to hear you say that, though. He
yeah, like kind of finding more cooking things.
So if it's like an amazing one-pot pasta recipe, you're like, it's actually fine that this is being monetized to Trump.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you think you'd be willing to pick an app and delete one with me today? We don't even need social media when we have books like this. Like, I'll read just a little. Okay, I won't bore you. Tuesday, mixed berries and chia seeds. Wednesday, honey and Greek yogurt.
So what would it take you to delete the app?
Instagram? Oh, I mean, I deleted it last week. I'll probably delete it again. We don't need it.
But you do say you keep re-downloading it.
I do.
So what do you think Mark Zuckerberg could do to make you kind of kick it out?
I don't know. It's probably already done enough.
Yeah. We probably should delete the app.
Do you guys want to do it?
I read
Right
this.
now?
Wait. I saw this post that was like, people get FOMO from not being on social media, but then they get FOMO from real life. From being on social media.
Oh, facts.
Is that like really meta?
No, I need to go back to school. That went so over my head. All right, I'll delete with you.
Can we do it together?
Yeah, we'll do it together.
This is a beautiful.
I'm gonna delete Airbnb.
I don't know. Does it count for the sake of this?
I mean, here, you can choose one.
No, go with Airbnb because I don't want to stop renting little houses. We'll delete it after one, okay? So 3, 2, 1, delete.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. You're such a coward. You're such a coward.
You don't understand.
Wow.
These
We're
are
doing
kids.
this
You don't
together.
understand. I'm addicted
We're
to
doing
it.
this together.
I'm addicted to it. And I can't get off. Come to the camera. Wow. I really got people to change their minds and delete these apps and divest from billionaires. So go ahead and like, follow, and subscribe.
Thank you, guys. We'll come back. Rachel Mason will be joining another show. Welcome back to the show. My guest tonight is a filmmaker whose new HBO documentary series is called An Update on Our Family.
The thing that's interesting about them is that people say both things. They say, how dare you post his tantrums on YouTube? But also, from what we've seen, it's not that bad. So it's like, okay, so you want them to show everything so that you can judge whether or not it was bad enough. But also, if they do that, that's bad. There's really no winning in that situation. We'll never have a full picture of what was going on there. No one's ever gonna know, right? You don't know until you've lived it.
Please welcome Rachel Mason. Rachel Mason is here. How fun is this? How fun is this?
I'm tripping.
You're tripping? You're usually them pointing the camera at somebody.
Oh yeah, I'm never on this side
Yeah.
ever, so cool.
Man, this docuseries is excellent, excellent, excellent. I was mad. I was mad again. I felt something. I had all different perspectives. What is family vlogging for those of us that don't know?
Wow. Well, I'm glad those reactions all happened because that was what we felt. Well, we were working on the show, and I say we because documentaries are made collectively with a bunch of people, and family vlogging is the practice of filming one's family for a channel, a YouTube channel usually, or social media generally.
Who was watching that? I mean, I don't even want to look at my friends' kids' pictures. But then these families have millions of subscribers and views and brand deals. What's the appeal?
I mean, this is why we needed Hannah Cho, who, if you watch our series, guides us through because she's the ultimate
actually talk about the draw that shows like the Kardashians or the Osbournes have had for years, and even going back earlier, there were other shows like on PBS people sometimes watch, which is, that's where it all started. Like people watched these families doing their thing, and there is a draw.
But I know it doesn't always seem like it, but traditional TV, there are some guardrails, there are producers, there are people that come over here in between the act and say, Michael, you f***ed up, you're not coming to work tomorrow.
Exactly.
But for YouTube, the producer, the writer, the accountant, the HR, it's the mom, it's the dad.
Exactly, and it's so...
And the actors are the kids. So let's talk about the E word. I don't know what that is. No. Exploitation is the E word. Let's talk about exploitation.
Okay, yeah.
These families are profiting financially, but so much of their content is a 6-year-old playing in a sandbox or refusing to eat the dinosaur chicken nuggets or whatever. Is this exploitation?
I mean, that's the central question here. And I think this also takes us into larger questions about kids in entertainment as well, because learning about family channels, it really, when I was doing the research for it, I was actually thinking, well, what kid could we find that I could say, what was it like for you doing this? And, there's hardly any who are old enough, although a few that have come out recently and spoken. But when we were making the series, it was hard to find them. So I actually realized, I guess we could turn to the world of regular entertainment and those kids that grew up on some level on TV. And in a similar way, I had that thought, well yes, they consented, but did they fully consent at age 6 to, and you wonder that. So there's always that dynamic where a parent might really want to do this thing. And that question exists around kids.
I am terrified to show my kids at all. And that's my moral code. That's not because they're uggos. I don't like that my daughter is 5 now starts to notice when the camera's out and behave differently for the camera, right? That was it feels to me like the one pure innocent thing that's left is a child's belief in the world and innocence. And to me, this is me watching your wonderful docuseries. It made me so angry that the parents are taking that from their kids. Is that a fair reaction?
I mean, I think that's a really poignant and
I'm trying to get you to say yes, but you're not gonna, because that's what this docuseries does so well, is it gets you to think about a lot of different things. And that was important to you. And are you a parent, and did that inform you making this?
Yeah, no, I have a son who's 12 now, and I think about that because actually I think that distinction is also pretty big, weirdly. It's from 6 to 12. 12, like, good luck getting your phone out of a 12-year. Like, everyone has a phone, and they're playing a million games, and they're doing all this stuff. And I had that initial thought, like, you'll never, ever get a phone, ever. Okay, well, how did you suddenly get a phone? And how, it's like this weird thing. And then also, like, you'll never, ever look at YouTube. And there's just, like, no way to avoid it, is what I've learned. So then the question is, well, how do we sort of manage it and put guardrails in place? And I will say, some people that I look at, I'm like, wow, you post all the time. And I'm going to judge that. But then, I have to say, like, there have been a couple times, like, he won a soccer game. I want to show this thing. It's something really cool. And I know some of my friends who I never see will want to see this thing. And there is the cool, good factor of sharing photos. And these apps have made that possible, in this way. So I think there's just this moral question that is needed to be discussed by smart people, like,
My daughter in the morning, she'll say, can I watch TV? And I'll say, no. And she'll say, can I watch you on TV? And I'll say, and I'll say, you know what, that doesn't sound like a terrible idea. She knows that'll work. Let's talk about the Stoffers. And let's talk about that. This is the family that the docuseries really focuses on. Tell us a little bit about them and what went down.
Well, in a lot of ways, the Stoffers were almost like an average family vlogger account. They did everything right in the world of what you do and what YouTube actually incentivizes you to do. And they had all the things. You have a charismatic, good-looking couple. You have kids, and it all works. And, this sort of set of things that you do for your channel that work really well in that environment. And so the Stoffers were just chugging along. And as you learn from our series, having kids is good content. So every time they had a kid, it would do well for them.
see the analytics and see that with these kids and new kids, our viewership goes up, our subscribers goes up, our money goes up.
Yeah.
What does that lead to?
So then in 2017, after they've been running this for a while, they decide to adopt a kid from China. And there's a myriad of reasons why they decide a kid from China makes sense for their channel and for their family and their life. And it all is very public.
Yes.
Extremely public. And the fans are immediately like, woo, let's do this, as though it's like a group decision.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that I think our series really gets into. It's like, okay, these really personal things, like suddenly exposed, take on a life of their own and morph. And like, should these things be even allowed to have this large audience? You know, you're making a massive decision for your life and for another person's life. And suddenly tons of people are weighing in on that.
I would never see a family at the park and think I can weigh in on their family decisions, but because they've overshared so much for so long, years, I've developed a relationship with them, and now I have the right to say, hey, you're doing that incorrectly, or
exactly.
And man, is it wild what goes down.
It is, yeah. So what ends up happening is after having him integrated in the family for a few years, they make a decision to dissolve the adoption.
Yeah.
And I know.
I know.
It's a horror. Oh God, hearing you guys make that sound, it's so real. Wow. No, but you live in documentaries, you're just editing. You don't have real people responding, but you
And
know.
I heard that sound, and I thought, we're gonna get so many more views on YouTube. That's why I'm sitting right here. That's how I think.
Wow.
No, but that's how we watch this docuseries.
Oh, okay.
Like this.
Yeah.
Why did they do that? And then, of course, I pause it to get a glass of water. My wife's like reading the whole story on Wikipedia, ruining it. But, yeah, and so that's when this thing kind of turns, and then the commenters take over, right?
Yeah, and so in a way, these two things intersect. You know, the most horrific decision happening in the family's life and the life of, you know, this child. Everything is just suddenly, that's their decision. They dissolve the adoption, but then at the same time, the internet crushes them. And I mean, unbelievable. And some of the things that drew me into the story were the actual videos in response, because they were terrifying. I was like, oh my God, the level of anger, which is also an understandable level of anger. But when so many people are sending death threats and going crazy on
How dare you do that to those children? I'm gonna slit your children's throat. What?
That's
Wait a sec. You know, I just would say to all YouTube commenters, you'll have a lot more success with your comment if you don't threaten life or killing. You can make good points without threatening life, but that's not where we're at, is it? No. So let's talk about, you know, in film and TV, there are child protection and laws in place. Coogan's Law, is that right? Yeah. But that does not exist in YouTube or vlogging world.
There have been some changes in the last few years, like a couple of states, Illinois and I think it's Ohio, and then also California, have made inroads into changing certain things. In fact, I think one of the laws was actually very much limiting certain amounts of time on the when your child is, because a kid could technically work a full 8-hour day.
Yeah.
12, yeah.
I mean, that's what's so disheartening to me. It's like the parents are at the playground with their kids, and the mom or the dad is going, okay, thanks for watching, everybody. It's like, hey, put it down. Go play with the kid. But that is work. They could potentially make money off of that.
Right.
Yeah, I wish I made money when I took my kid to the playground. I mean, playing princess and king and all that shit, and I look at, after I do it, I look at it and I say, I actually lost money doing this. Can you family vlog in an ethical way that's non-exploitative to your children? I know, you're a director of a docuseries. You're not the ethical leader of the entertainment industry. But you like to tackle ethics in entertainment.
No, I'm glad you're asking that question, because the thing that sucks so bad is that when I met these people, I actually liked them. I was like, you're a good person, and I think you're actually doing good by your kids, and they were cool, like reasonable. And then what I started to realize was that, wow, you got in over your head, and this thing snowballed, and the industry snowballed, and like, holy catching up to it, which is also why one of the greatest comments I thought was by one of the YouTubers himself, Harold Rose. He said, YouTube likes to try to pull your content to the edges, and we have to fight against it. So I could see they're if you're in over your head or the thing is doing this, you're trying. And I was thinking, wow, okay, so you're really trying. And
be wholesome and earnest, or to at least show that.
well, and that's the other side of it, is that this world of a facade that can feel absolutely ridiculous. And so I think we have regular people that have gotten sucked into, as you said, a complete and total world of entertainment, but they don't have the guy right there who is like a story producer. It's not gonna work. Or the executive being like, we cannot do this. They're just your fans are wanting this, give it to them. And can it be done ethically? I mean, I wish I actually had an answer to that, but I think this is where the really big question exists for the social media companies. Like, what do you guys think? Can we figure this out?
And your job isn't to answer. Your job is to help us ask the question. And it's a tremendous docuseries. Thank you for making it. I can't believe how much work must have gone into it. So all 3 episodes of An Update on Our Family are now available to stream on Max. Rachel Mason, everybody. That's our show for tonight. Please consider supporting the California Fire Foundation. They're on the ground working with local fire agencies and community organizations to provide support to impacted residents. If you can, please donate at the link below. Now here it is, your moment of Zen.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time in terms of trying to get this done. So yes, I think democracy will have an effect, and we are going to keep at it.